How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Christmas classic, otherwise known as
The meaning who stole my pants and then had a heart attack.
Yes, he did. In this live stream, we'll review the second of our movies. It's actually a set of movies today in which we try to put Christ back into Christmas. The movie selection this week was based on a viewer poll. And the winners were, while we're looking at this week, starting with It's a Wonderful Life yesterday, The Grinches today. We have Charlie Brown Christmas tomorrow and Die Hard. Believe it or not, maybe that's a Christmas movie on Friday.
It's a Christmas movie.
Are you sure about that?
It's a Christmas movie.
Be ye warned. So these are all viewer choices. Be ye warned. Spoilers ahead, matey. So this week is putting Christ back into Christmas week. The plot, the Grinch itself. Now, I was a little surprised, maybe growing up with this, that I'm talking to an international audience, so I guess I shouldn't be surprised that some people haven't seen this. And it's like I say, the original has been out for a while. The original came out in 1966. So I'm going to go over a little bit of a review of the. Don't laugh. I'm not that old, but the answer is yes, I am that old. Let's just go over the plot a little bit because not everybody had seen this. The idea is, although I did talk to a couple of viewers, and I think they went ahead and dove right in and saw it. So at least I know that one person did. The three Grinch movies released in 1966, 2000, and 2018. By the way, I got that wrong on the poll. I put 16 down. Are adaptations of Dr. Seuss's classic story, The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, a little bit about Dr. Seuss before I get started. He was someone who was trying to help children learn how to read. And so he wrote these children books where there was rhyming and simple words and word construction. And there's a rumor going around that English is not the easiest language to learn.
Really?
Yeah.
Good fooled me.
Yeah. With the long history of all sorts of different mishmash of rules coming in from whether it was Scandinavian or old English, you got Norse, you got French coming in, all clashing together and creating this language. So
yeah,
all sorts
English is just a mess.
It is rough. So he created these books in order for children to learn how to read. There's a lot of rhyming going on, a lot of just silly, goofy stuff that was happening, and the illustrations that went with it. And so they had those illustrations pretty well adapted in the 1966 version of the movie, and they tried then later in the subsequent movies to do it. In the 1966 version, the Grinch starts off as a bitter, mean-spirited character who despises Christmas. And yes, that's right. And who decides to steal all the presents and decorations from Whoville. He believes that by doing so, he can prevent the Whos from celebrating the holiday and experiencing joy. However, his heart undergoes a significant transformation as he witnesses the Whos celebrating Christmas with love and joy, despite the absence of material possessions. He learns the true meaning of Christmas through the kindness and goodwill of the Whos. And then many years later, in 2000, the version of the Grinch is similar to the 1966 version. However, it is a live-action adaptation to this, and they did their best to try to make the characters look like the ones in the original cartoon with the funny faces and the goofy, weird, swirly architecture and everything. And the story then is just pretty much like the 66 version, except it expands the Grinch's backstory, providing more nuanced understanding of his transformation and redemption. And the same thing with the 2018 version. It was similar to the previous ones, except that it's a computer animation with slightly different Grinch backstory and character relations. So, having gone over the plot a little bit, we're going to be taking a look at the poll, and then we're going to dive into the Battle of the Grinches. See if we can pull out a theme here. What theme of Christmas is there? And how does that relate to the birth of Christ? So here we have a poll. Yes, we do. Here's the poll. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. came out. The 1966 version came out as #1 by far.
Your
It was
favorite.
running neck to neck a little bit between it and the 2000 version. They were pulling side by side for the longest time. But then the Grinch, the original, the old fogey of 1966, pulled ahead of the others and stole the race. Well,
Oh, that's how I know you did a decent remake of it. If it was neck and neck for a while, then you did a good job on doing the remake.
right. Yeah, this is the 2000 version did actually hold its own for a while and then eventually just petered out, wasn't able to do it for very long. Then you got the 2000, it says 16, but it's 18. 2018 version. I didn't have a vote for the longest time. Finally got a little bit of love there. So
There's more love for no Grinch at all.
no Grinch at all.
Compared to the one
some
for
more.
the newest one. Ouch.
Yes. So we're going to take a
Wow.
look at some of the
I got some hate on it. Okay.
I just didn't like it. We'll go over some of the reasons maybe why. And we had some comments in here about that. The 2000, and this is from Chancellvania. Thank you. The 2001 is more nostalgic for me than the OG for some reason, but the OG is nostalgic as well. I remember it was always on Cartoon Network around Christmas when I was young. So I'm thinking person grew up in the 90s, maybe? Cartoon Network?
Cartoon Network? Yeah, I remember Cartoon Network.
Yeah. And then we have Helsinki Skies, our friend from Finland, said he had to go with none of them. Yeah, he was one of the voters for none of them. Since I haven't watched the Grinch movies, not part of our tradition here in Funland. I do like Jim Carrey, though, and I might give his Grinch a try at some point. And then we have
It's pretty funny.
Hunter World 95. The only correct option is the 2000 incarnation. And I'm guessing he probably also grew up in the 90s and was not exposed to every year of the 66 version of the Grinch.
Oh, I was.
Were you exposed to that?
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that part
I
of?
was.
Okay.
And my kids are. Well, haven't got to the 66 one yet. I've been holding that one in my back pocket.
Okay.
But we definitely did the Jim Carrey one, and it's my oldest son's favorite.
I thought he was scared. Was he scared?
He's terrified of the thing.
Yeah, you were saying that earlier.
He's like,
He was scared.
I don't want to watch it.
I can see for a kid that'd be a little bit on the scarier side.
What get him is when they're doing the song, and it's the you've got termites in your teeth.
Oh,
thing. He never wants to go to bed without brushing his teeth.
He never wants to go to bed without brushing his teeth because
you'll get termites in his teeth.
That is hilarious.
And it's like every time he's good, I don't have termites in my teeth.
That's right.
I'm not going to be like the Grinch.
Never knew that the Grinch would be the dentist's friend.
So I was at the store yesterday, and they had one of the inflatable Grinches.
Uh-huh.
And I took a picture and sent it to my wife and said, "For outside the boy's window."
Oh no!
Just have it pop up. Just have it on like one of the timers that just turns on, like randomly just pop up. Go back.
You are mean to those poor kids. They just I don't know. Wow. All right, so we have the Battle of the Grinches, and we're going to make sure that everybody knows that this is a spoiler warning going forward. If you have not seen the movies, you know what? Go ahead and watch this anyway. I don't think we're going to spoil it too much. So we're going to let them fight. Let them fight. Here is a deeper dive into their format, style, and conflict. And I'm going to put up a little bit of a video of each so that you get a taste for each one as we dive in.
But this sound wasn't sad. What? This sound sounded glad. Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing
moments of action
without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same.
Yay!
So we see now this format. It's a 26-minute long
really
animated
short.
TV special. It was short. It was it wasn't a movie. It was a TV short. 26 minutes. You imagine just boom, boom, boom in like that, in and out.
Explains why they had to add so much for that. the Jim Carrey one.
Actually, yes, they did.
Because they had to poof it up.
They did need to put more into that, and we'll get to that in a minute. Dr. Seuss is this faithfully follows Dr. Seuss's original book, and capturing all the whimsical style, the characters, the way they look and everything like that, illustrations and source material. And there was a rumor going around that he was maybe not green in the book, that he was a different color, the Grinch.
Oh, the Grinch. Yeah, the original, no. He really wasn't in the book.
The Grinch was in the book.
The Grinch that was in the book was not green originally. He had red eyes and he was white.
Okay. So there was a lot of rumors. Oh, he wasn't green. He was red. Well, true. That was true. He was white, but it wasn't like he was specifically white and everything else was a color, because here's an image of the book and there's the Grinch.
It's like dual color. They only use
the whole
red.
thing. It was just, yeah, there was just monochrome. They had black and white, and they had one color for printing expenses to keep it cheap. And the only thing that was red was what he wore. So he could have been any color. Now, granted, the darker he would have been, they would have shaded him a little bit more. But if you even look at his dog, is his dog white? I don't know. So the narration of the story was done by Boris Karloff, who has his deep voice. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Oh, yeah.
And it really iconic. And he close the dialogue there is very much closely matches the writing style of Dr. Seuss and his stories. Now, I'm going to do this for each adaptation. I'm going to go over a conflict, and from that conflict, we're going to pull out what the themes are. In the 1966 animated special, the true meaning of Christmas is about the spirit of love, togetherness, and generosity. Despite the Grinches stealing all the presents and decorations of Whoville, the Who's still come together, as we saw in the video, singing and celebrating Christmas. This teaches the Grinch that Christmas is not about the physical things, but about the joy and the connection shared among people. Dun, dun, dun. And I'm going to check the chat because I think we have some people. Oh, look who is here. Servant of Christ listening in. How you doing, brother?
Hey.
Then we have Isgul says, my favorite is the original, but I also enjoyed both the new ones. I remember seeing the Jim Carrey one in theaters. That was fun. Yeah, we're going to get to him next, and I think they did a pretty good job with trying to characterize that. Jim Carrey's, I mean, he makes the character there.
Oh, yeah.
What I really liked about Jim Carrey was that he is funny. The OG had little to no comedy. The newest one is funny as well. True. They brought a lot of comedy into it, and it really helped move the story along. I think that if they didn't have comedy in the longer version, because the original was only 26 minutes, if they didn't have comedy in the other ones, then it would have been...
Oh, no. I think it would have been dry.
Dry. Just not no fun at all. I think they chose the right color. Now, was there any other story behind the color there?
Allegedly, this came out because the director of if I'm remembering it correctly, the director of the original 1966 Grinch, one time he rented a car and it was this horrible color of green, and he hated it so much that whenever it came to the Grinch, he's like, I'm going to make him that green.
Yeah.
Because that is such a putrid, disgusting color.
So you saw the original book, and it just had red. That was the only color that was there. So you could, take artistic license and make anything any color, and that's where they did green. I guess also Envy,
color green. Yeah, there's a lot of aspects of the green, and I think that was a correct decision if they were going to add color to him. And again, I think it was within the character of the original.
I do want to point out something. Sam Rogers says, I think they chose the right color. But, sir, may I respectfully correct your spelling here? CLOUR. I think there is a spelling error. No, I'm just kidding. Because the Americans, I guess, are the only ones of the former British Empire that spell it with the O-R instead of the O-U-R.
I'm about to say the British have been doing this a lot. He's speaking English a lot longer than we have.
Yeah, but he's Australian, so, I can complain. Yeah. So
they are criminals,
No. Hey, no. They are far.
Penal colony.
It was. However, they are redeemed just like everybody else, and that was a very, very, very long time ago. So we have Isgul. I want Dr. Seuss still alive when they decided what color to make the. Want Dr. Seuss still alive when they decided what color to make the Grinch? ? So that's a question.
Do you mean was Dr. Seuss still alive?
Oh, I think that's
probably using text to speech.
Wasn't. There you go.
Oh, wasn't. Okay.
There you go. Wasn't Dr. Seuss still alive when they decided to make what color to make the movie? There you go again. The O-U-R. I think I'm being ruled out here. I better start changing my spelling habits.
I listen to all
I don't know. That's a good question.
And...
I think he probably still was. So this is 66. If somebody wants to fact check that to see when he was around, when he passed away, that was good. The Jim Carrey, Servant of Christ said the Jim Carrey Grinch is about as good as you can get for live action. True accomplishment. Well, let's go ahead and segue right over into. We talked about the 66 version. Let's talk about the 2000 version and the adaptation for that. And we'll take a quick look at an actual clip.
Tiggs! Get without packages, boxes, or bags!
And he puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
He's got facial expression.
Christmas.
He does. That's one of the things. He really puts himself into this character.
Come from a star. Maybe Christmas. Perhaps. Means a little bit more.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so he's got these dramatic pauses and everything down, the facial features. I don't know if anybody else who can do just
I think
do what with his face
for him.
Yeah,
with his personality and how he handles it.
And he really does get into character for this.
Oh yeah,
he does a great job. So the format for the 2000 version obviously was different. Ron Howard directed the 104-minute long adaptation of the Grinch live action film starring Jim Carrey. It expanded on the original story, providing more details about the Grinch's backstory and residents of Whoville. And you have to do something with it, right? If you're going to make this a feature-length movie, and it started off as less than half an hour, you're really going to have to pad this a little bit. But I think they did a pretty good job with it, and I think generally people felt that way too. Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Grinch is a comedic and chaotic elements, brings the whole thing to life. The film delves into the Grinch's past, exploring reasons for its bitterness and hatred towards Christmas. It also introduces a romantic subplot involving Cindy Lou, whose character. Now, so they have this all developing and everything like this, and they're doing the filming. And I'm gonna give a little bit before I dive into the conflict here. There's a bit of trivia with this, and I grew up in Southern California. We went to the Disneyland's out there. They did have Knott's Berry Farm. You had Six Flags Magic Mountain and Universal Studios tour. And the real cool thing about the Universal Studios tours, you get on this tram, they take you around these different lots. They talk about all these old movies, any current movies. They talk about how they do things. And there's all these different effects that come across. They bring out the shark for Jaws and they do all this kind of stuff, right? So it's kind of a cool little experience. But with that, they'll come across this one house. And this is the house in Psycho, which at least back then and during the filming of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version of it, this was still around. And it wasn't very far from the lot where they had the Whoville. Here you see the tram going in front of the old mansion for Psycho. Now, if you remember, Psycho is that movie where they come out and the guy is obsessed with his mother, and this woman comes to their hotel, the Bates Hotel, and he comes out and he wants to stab her, and they got the shower scene with a knife and everything like that.
The one that's been taken for everything.
There's so many
in
spoofs
every
that done that.
different situation.
Yeah. So they had this going on, and they had this house here, and they had the tram come by. Well, right next to it, you don't realize sometimes these sets are like right next to each other. Right next to this, they have the set for Whoville. This is the outdoor set. And Jim Carrey's doing everything, and he's getting in there, and they have either it's before they get started or after they do a shoot or something. He comes out, Jim Carrey, and he says, I'm going to do this. And he goes after the tram dressed as the mother in Psycho, out of the Psycho house, with the knife towards the tram. Now, I would love to be in that tram and having, like Jim Carrey.
I don't know, man. If I was, he didn't tell anyone he was going to do this.
Well, they do this with the tram all the time. They have like a Frankenstein come out to the tram and stuff like this. But yeah, as far as I know, this is an impromptu thing.
Because for the tram driver, that'd be a little freaky.
It's like, yeah. Well, I don't know. If I were the tram driver, I would wonder, is this part of a skit or whatever? Is this something that I not have this? Is there an update on that?
So I would expect to have something about for the tram drivers to let them know, hey, this is going to happen at this time. Make sure you react correctly at this time. But no, just have Jim Carrey randomly run at you with a knife. Holy cow.
That's what happened. So I'm sure a bunch of people took pictures and stuff like that. If that's what the legend is. I don't know if that's true. I heard this from the tram driver herself, or the tour guide on the tram, when they were taking us through this. She mentioned this. This is years ago. So the conflict in the 2000 version, live action film, also conveys a message that Christmas is about more than material gifts. And it also goes into bullying and how he was mistreated and how he became this angry old character. So it delves deeper into Grinch's personal journey and the importance of forgiveness and redemption, especially with him because he was an outcast. Cindy Lou, who portrays a significant role in helping Grinch realize the value of love and acceptance, contributing to a more personal and emotional transformation of the character.
Yeah.
So then we come to the 2018 version of the movie. It was also a long movie, not quite as long as the previous one, 85-minute long, computer animated, done by the people that do the Minions, the same group that did that. That returns it to a more concise format of the original story while introducing some new elements. The animation style of this version is more modern with updated character designs. Benedict Cumberbatch does the voice of the Grinch, and the film adds more mischievous and comedic aspect to the Grinch. You were talking about the humor earlier, and that brings it out.
He's one of my favorite actors of the current genre or current age.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not talking about all the old classics, but just all the actors out there.
We were just doing Lord of the Rings, and he did the dragon for that. So I wonder how many voiceovers, voice acting bits he does. And you have Sherlock Holmes, you have he's in Star Trek.
Con. Yeah.
He does a bunch of others.
And he did a great job in that one too.
Yeah. But this one he uses, you can't really tell necessarily his voice because it doesn't really have much of a British accent. It's more an Americanized version, I think. So now, in this adaptation, the Grinch discovers, now this is the conflict. He discovers the true meaning of Christmas is what? The true meaning of Christmas, the true. Emphasize those two words because we're going to be hitting those in a bit. The true meaning of Christmas. There's not any other. This is it. It is true. This is the truth, right? The true meaning of Christmas is portrayed as the warmth of community, kindness, and joy of sharing and caring for one another, and the importance of friendship. Do you see a trend here?
I see a trend. Yep. I see a very lack of a trend.
What trend do you see? And then I'm going to put up the clip for this one here.
And the luscious sound swelled, reaching up to the skies. And the Grinch heard with his heart, and it tripled in size.
Here we go. So we've seen the build-up in the other two movies, and this is when you shake.
That called a medical issue.
It's called a medical
You
issue.
definitely need to go to the hospital.
Yes.
You need to get that checked out. Like,
Definitely.
now.
Yeah, enlarged heart is not necessarily, that's not a funny thing. I shouldn't be laughing.
All of a sudden.
So I'm going to bring this up to the comments, and I'm going to ask you guys, because we're going to be diving into this now, is what the theme is. We kind of got a glimpse. We're doing something a little bit different. We're comparing and contrasting 3 different versions of the same story. And out of that, you have the 66 version, you have the 2000 version, you have the 2018. What is the theme? What Christian themes do you see in here? And so I'm checking comments to see what we have. Okay, threat and sanity. Unipolar decision.
Unpopular.
I'm sorry. Unipolar.
Unipolar.
How did I get that?
Wow.
He's on the North Pole.
Okay.
Okay, Christmas. That's what it is. Unpopular opinion. The Who's are not behaving good in the entire movie except for 2 minutes, literally. They're full of greed, lust, gluttony, pride, 99% of the time, except for Cindy and her father. Yes, that is a very good observation. So, especially in the second one, you see this in the second one too, is who is the bad guy? The bad guy is supposed to be the Grinch, and he sees in the original 66 version and in the Dr. Seuss movie, he was the bad guy. The Who's are getting together, just having normal Christmas. They're getting together. He just doesn't like it. He doesn't like happiness. He doesn't like joy. He doesn't like what's happening with Christmas. He doesn't like people getting together. So what he does is he goes and says, I can make it rotten for them just like it is rotten for me, and I'll take all their presents. They'll have a terrible time. Well, they get together and they all sing, and it doesn't matter. They have a good time together anyway because the presents were the deal. Is there anything else? Now, in the 2000 version, you really do see a focus on this. You have Cindy Lou. It has this accident, and the Grinch saves her in this packing accident. Her father comes and not concerned about her safety at all. Doesn't thank the Grinch for saving her. He's more concerned about the presents themselves and about her wrapping ability and stuff like this. So yeah, they really do focus hard on that. The Whoville really are the greedy people, and the Grinch is more or less kind of the good guy there. And every time he comes down to try to be a part of society, they make fun of him. They give him a hard time. They ridicule him.
I'd say in the second one is the mayor. That's the
real
main, main antagonist.
He epitomizes. He's the worst of all the Whovillians in the graph. So I think that's a very good observation. Let's see what else we got here. He says makes sense. Okay, his goal is a greeting with you.
The goat.
The goat. The goat is my favorite part of the 2000.
Just wait until today. I have another goat.
You have another goat video?
Yes, on my channel. It'll be a little short.
Okay, we got a plug here.
My members have already seen it. At least they have the opportunity to see it. But the rest of you will be able to see it at noon. Okay,
cool. We're releasing that at noon. And unfortunately, I can't put any plugs in here later. There's like a 12-hour difference where I can put chapters and plugs in. But hope that goes well. Yeah, the dog. I think the dog is like the best character in all these movies. The dog's just loyal, just being a dog, just doing what a dog does. Hearts aren't even meant to be shaped like that. Okay, let's get technical here. Let's talk about the ventricles and the
lack thereof.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously,
no, that wouldn't even be functional. No. And then the whole village is out of order. We have to try a lot to hug different people and to change them. You know what? There was a good message. I'm going to kind of rag on the Grinches here in a bit, but there really is a good message in acceptance. We are overloaded with woke philosophies about acceptance, but there is truth in that. That you do have the goofy looking guy in class or in the neighborhood or whatever. Don't look at the exteriors, the hearts, and that is the Christ died for that person as well. So we should also share the love with them.
Yep. Before the cross, we are all equal.
Okay, and that was the hugging one, and then Francis has. Good morning, sir. How are you? The Grinch gives atheists a bad look, so they tried to ban it. But when they see we rejoice in every manner, it backfires on them. There is something to be said about the fruits of the Spirit being joy. One of the fruits of the Spirit being joy. In that, as Christians, you know what? You can sometimes tell if someone's a Christian just by the joy that they have at times.
Oh, yeah.
But we could easily look at the world and become old curmudgeons. Just look at all this darkness and sin. Well, there is, but you know what? There's hope in life too. So that's a good thing to focus on. Switching back. Okay, so missing Christian theme. I want to talk about the Christian theme here, and I need to take off the comments. Okay, the missing Christian theme. What is the Christian theme that you guys see? Now, we've had one pointed that out already. Is the acceptance of people in the 2000 version of the movie, and I think maybe on the 18 as well. You do have the poor Grinch who gets ostracized. He has to pull back in the mountain. He just lives in this garbage heap and all this stuff coming in, and he's just bitter about the people, their treatment against him.
Yep.
And so what is the best Christian attitude about that is to, even though someone is steeped in sin, we are also sinners saved by grace, that we should have a handout of love to them as well. Love is not just for people within the kingdom, people that are in the church. It's also to be extended out to the world, because it was for that love that Christ died for us all. And we were all in that same position. So there should be a lot of empathy going on for that.
And that even the worst of the worst in this situation, the Grinch, was not beyond repentance.
That's right.
He had the opportunity to repent, and he took it, and he was restored. So
that's right. That there is the message of redemption and transformation that is there. But I'm going to get to that in a minute, because there's a key element that's missing.
Oh yeah,
and so
big key element.
We had talked about all these different versions of the Grinch, and they all talk about the true meaning of Christmas. In each version, the Grinch's moral transformation is key elements of the narrative, highlighting the redemptive power of love, compassion, and the spirit of Christmas, whatever that is. And I don't think this is the Holy Spirit that the world is talking about. While the Grinch may start off as morally reprehensible, the heartwarming message of the stories is that individuals have the capacity for change and redemption. Now, here is the key. There is redemption here, and we can say this is Christian redemption, but it really isn't, because it's missing Christ, which is the central focus of Christmas. This is the redemptive power of generic love in this movie. It is not the love of Christ that drove him to be a part of us and the world, and die for the world. In this, love is love in this movie, in all these different versions. The true meaning of Christmas is a central theme for all these movies, emphasizing the idea that Christmas is about more than just material possessions. The moral of the story is so watered down, it is no longer recognizable as Christian. And I don't know if you can really say it's necessarily Christmas. It could be anything. It could be a generic religion, a positive humanistic philosophy that could give the same message of love, community, and redemption. The story of the Grinch is not a bad story. It's a very good one. But to say that this is the true meaning of Christmas is like saying the essence of being human is that we all breathe. Yep. The essence of Christmas is love and sharing. The essence of being human is that we can breathe. No. Being human is much more than that. And so the true meaning of Christmas is more than a generic love and community. This has become the golden rule for our generation. This milquetoast, weak, timid, easy manipulated, easily dominated, sissy, panty-waist, pansy, milksop philosophy. Yes.
We don't go over the script beforehand, just to let you know. So I'm listening to this the first time.
It's so wimpy.
No, I agree with you.
It's so wimpy because, yes, love is hip, but you suck the life of Christ out of it. This is not the love that just goes and accepts everybody no matter what. Now, we do accept people. We don't necessarily accept their actions. And there's a huge difference for that. We're not called to be nice to each other at all in the Bible. We're called to do much, much more. We're called to love each other, and that's harder. And sometimes that's not so nice.
Yeah.
Honesty.
And sometimes the hard parts.
It is.
That's
Honesty is not nice. Challenging someone to overcome their addictions and to live their lives responsibly. That can be brutal love. Not nice at all.
I admit that's when you've heard this. I've heard this phrase, and it's a pretty common phrase. You know, whenever you want to know the truth, you ask your true friends, because your true friends will tell you. You know, if you picked out a new sweater and it's a horrendous looking sweater, your true friends will look at you and say, "That's garbage."
That's right.
False friends will look at you and say, "You look great."
That's right.
Because they don't love you. They don't care about you. Your true friends will tell you the hard facts, even if you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And that is an act of love.
All right. So I want to hear what you guys have to say too. This act of hard love that you were just talking about goes beyond the movie. We just water this down, and it becomes a generic thing, so that Christmas, then this is what happens when you extract Christ out of Christmas. You're just left with this shell of what's there.
And then why should you repent? What's the absolute truth of this? Maybe absolute truth isn't just relative. And if it's just relative, then his truth is just taking those toys and, presents, and maybe, his truth isn't not giving them back.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to necessarily bash the movie. I'm trying to point out something that has become a philosophy of our society, at least U.S. Western society. I'm not sure how much is this, and I'm talking to an international audience here, so you guys can let me know how much this has bled over. I mean, they have Christmas in China, for goodness sakes. Now, of course, no Christ there as
in
well.
Japan. Oh, it's funny because KFC is big in Japan during Christmas. Yeah, I had learned that a couple years ago. I'm like, really? KFC?
Yeah. They
Christmas? Okay.
It's almost like the end of the Christmas story. They go to the Chinese restaurant afterwards to eat for Christmas. Okay, so I think I skipped somebody here. Yes. Okay. Adam, you said Jesus associated with all the worst of society when he was here on earth. I think that is forgotten often as well. Yes, but he did not do it to condone their activity. He did it to draw them out.
And it was those that were a repentant heart that was spending time with,
right,
and investing in. The tax collector, which to the Jews was a traitor who associated himself with the Romans and enriched himself through it, and he oppressed his fellow people. That one who had repented and wanted to know God, that's the one he chose to spend time with. Those are the people he invested in. Not the ones who were outwardly clean, but inwardly rotten.
Right. Filled with dead men's bones. Threat and Sandy. Oh man, after 3 hours, I understand what Francis meant. Wow. So Christian of you. And
I think that was his last comment, but that wasn't 3 hours ago.
No. Well, I think what he had gone back. He hadn't Threat and Sandy. He hadn't seen these movies before. So he went to watch them and seen them. He's seeing this for the first time.
Okay. Gotcha.
I did skip this one. Amen. And all the good morning to you two gentlemen in the most British manner possible. I got British roots. I mean, I should. Yeah. So I should be more British, but I'm not. I'm a freaking American. Okay. So then we got Adam here saying, if the movies had been accurate, the Grinch would have been born again when his heart was changed because he became a new creation. Only Christ. Yes, and that's it. The transformation that we see. Okay, can people without Christ have transformation? Yes, but it is only temporary. It's not a permanent eternal
conversion.
Solution. Right. And that's why he made that choice to die for us, is to make that change for us, so it could be permanent.
I could hear atheists say, but we definitely can do it. I just point to all the New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, that's right.
You want to tell me something about changing yourself?
Another thing we also forget is that true love cannot be known apart from God. If there was no God of the Bible, there would be no love. Okay, so all right, I'm going to ask my Greek friend here, Threatened Sanity, 4 words for love, right? Agape, soros, phileo, and eros. So we use one word. I love my wife. I love chocolate. I love my dog, and I sure hope I don't do it all the same way. So what different?
I hope not.
What different versions of love are we going to talk about? And you're talking about You're talking about the eternal. You're talking about the eternal selfless love shown in agape love, which is I'm going to give myself totally to you. And you do have some of that without God, but it's only because the remnant of God is still in people's lives that have turned away from him. There's still some that shadow that remains that's there. But you're right. The only way that we can really truly have it is through him. And Thomas, welcome, Thomas. We really have 2 holidays celebrated at once, 2 different groups, Christmas and Xmas. Yes, by the way, I think the Xmas thing is not necessarily taking Christ out of Christmas, although it is viewed as that now. It was more the Ixus or the help me out here, Threatened Sanity, the Greek letter chi, which it looks like an X, so that's how you would the first letter of Christ would have been. So it was an abbreviation for that. Wasn't really necessarily.
I thought it was just abbreviation. I don't think they actually meant to take Christ.
But some people do mean it that way.
Yeah.
And it definitely is 2 different holidays. One is secular and one is this. Now, next week, even though it's past Christmas, I have one day set aside, and we're gonna have a really fun time talking to ChatGPT about Christmas, about the true meaning of Christmas.
Telling me this earlier.
I was pulling my freaking hair out, and it's good. And we're gonna share that experience together and have a visual, the actual audio version of this with ChatGPT. It's going to be fun. Argue with the beast. It's hilarious. I have to say Romans 14. What was answer? Oh, you're answering something, and I don't know what it is. I'll be clarified. Yeah, hopefully you can clarify. Good point, Thomas. Talking about really have 2 Christmases. Yes. And people who love you will tell you your ancestors are dirty convicts.
I'll take that one. That's definitely. That's definitely.
Well, I could say my ancestors. I did some research on who my ancestors were, and there were some surprises in there, and they were not all good surprises. So,
no.
Yes, and true love, Sam. True love. We just share the love, man. Tell you the way it is.
I mostly say that because one of my good friends, Samuel Green, is from Australia. So really, have a lot of fun with him.
I don't have Pope, man, that dude has just gone off.
What? Who?
Pope Francis. And he's made some statements. So you look at it, and it almost sounds like recently he's come out and saying something about blessing same-sex unions, and there's some real controversy here. What exactly is he saying? It sounds like he's saying that going ahead and permitting them. I don't know. I'm not sure what supposedly it's not technically, but man, you're really skirting the issues here, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, and he's
she. And how do you pronounce it? Thank you. It's cool.
Oh, okay.
Alpha, beta, gamma. No, that's Hebrew. Okay, anyway, so the problem with me is I was trained both in Greek. I was trained both with Erasmian pronunciation, which is classical, and modern pronunciation. So I get the 2 conflicted all the time. And there we go. Here we go. Thank you. Here's our expert. Eros is romantic. Philos is friend. Yes, like Philadelphia. That's where we get that. And erotic is where we get the word for that kind of love, right?
Yeah, I wish English had that. Would have learned.
It would have been nice to be able to have those distinctions.
Much better.
Like in English, we used to have
You don't get confused between your love for your wife and love for a dog.
Yes, we used to have second person plural, like you. If I say, "Well, you know this," you can't tell if I'm talking about just one person or a group. You don't have that distinction anymore. You used to have that. Thou and thine. You know, the thou and thee would be the two distinctions there. We do kind of have that in Southern America. Y'all say you, all, y'all. So there's that distinction there. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent. Never knew that.
Development language is very interesting.
Agape is general love. Yeah, in the Bible, it kind of, so in the Koine Greek or Koine Greek, it makes a little bit more of a distinction and has that more specifically towards the selfless love of God and not just general love. But I guess maybe in modern Greek, it has evolved to more, wow, we're getting a real lesson here. Next letter, Christos. There we go. Christos.
Oh, Christos.
So that's where the X is in Xmas is the abbreviation for that. Thanks. I think we've all been educated this morning. Wow.
Quite a bit.
Yes. Okay. So this is fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We have just a little preview for this week. So on Monday, we talked about why was Christ born on that day? And I need to get rid of that. Thank you. Why was Christ born in the first century? Why was that true? There was all sorts of critical things that made that a sweet spot. We talked about this it's a wonderful life without you, what that would be. And so we do see a progression there of Christmas movies that were more talking about Christ and about at least angels in that era. And then we talked today about the three Grinches. Tomorrow we're going to look at Grief is Good. Charlie Brown Christmas. Yes, can grief be good? Is there a good place for that? And we'll review the cartoon. It's a Charlie Brown Christmas. And Friday, we thought it was a little difficult getting the true meaning of Christmas out of the Grinches. Let's try this one. Let's do a little bit of a challenge. This has somehow become a Christmas movie, Die Hard, and we're going to take a crack at that.
It's been fun.
So, again, it's been fantastic, guys. Enjoyed all of the responses. And let's see if we can pull more out of this. Let's see if we can put Christ back into Christmas. We're watching these shows with our families, and we can talk about these different. Maybe I want to make this assumption, man. Not everybody's going to have the same situation. You might be sitting down with your friends. You may be a stranger in your family. I don't know what your particular situation is. But either way, watch these movies, have these traditions that were specifically Christ. I don't care what ChatGPT says. It was the true meaning of Christmas is Christ. So let's see if we can put this back in here. Until then, enjoy your Christmas time.